So having said, as one from sad dismay recomforted, and after thoughts disturbed, submitting to what seemed remediless, thus in calm mood his words to Eve he turned. Bold deed thou hast presumed, adventurous Eve, and peril great provoked, who thus hath dared, had it been only coveting to eye that sacred fruit, sacred to abstinence, much more to taste it, and a ban to touch. But past who can recall, or done undo, not God omnipotent nor fate. Yet so perhaps thou shalt not die. Perhaps the fact is not so heinous now, for tasted fruit, profaned first by the serpent, by him first made common and unhallowed ere our taste. Nor yet on him found deadly, he yet lives, as thou saidst, and gains to live as man, higher degree of life. Inducement strong to us, as likely tasting to attain proportional assent, which cannot be but to be gods, or angels, demigods. Nor can I think that God, creator wise, though threatening, will in earnest so destroy us, his prime creatures, dignified so high, set over all his works, which in our fall for us created needs with us must fail, dependent made. So God shall uncreate, be frustrate, do, undo, and labour lose, not well conceived of God, who though his power creation could repeat, yet would be loath us to abolish, lest the adversary triumph and say, fickle their state whom God most favours, who can please him long? Me first he ruined, now mankind, whom will he next? Matter of scorn not to be given the foe. However I with thee have fixed my lot, certain to undergo like doom if death consort with thee, death is to me as life. So forcible within my heart I feel the bond of nature draw me to my own in thee. For what thou art is mine. Our state cannot be severed. We are one flesh. To lose thee were to lose myself. So Adam, and thus Eve to him replied.
O glorious trial of exceeding love, illustrious evidence, example high, engaging me to emulate, but short of thy perfection, how shall I attain Adam, from whose dear side I boast me sprung, and gladly of our union hear thee speak, one heart, one soul in both, whereof good proof this day affords, declaring thee resolved, rather than death, or aught than death more dread shall separate us, linked in love so dear, to undergo with me one guilt, one crime, if any be, of tasting this fair fruit, whose virtue, for of good still good proceeds, direct, or by occasion hath presented this happy trial of thy love, which else so eminently never had been known. Were it, I thought, death menaced would ensue this my attempt, I would sustain alone the worst, and not persuade thee, rather die deserted than oblige thee with a fact pernicious to thy peace, chiefly assured remarkably so late of thy so true, so faithful love unequalled. But I feel far otherwise the event, not death, but life augmented, opened eyes, new hopes, new joys, taste so divine, that what of sweet before hath touched my sense, flat seems to this and harsh. On my experience, Adam, freely taste, and fear of death deliver to the winds.
So saying, she embraced him, and for joy tenderly wept, much won that he his love had so ennobled, as of choice to incur divine displeasure for her sake, or death. In recompense, for such compliance bad, such recompense best merits, From the bough she gave him of that fair enticing fruit with liberal hand. He scrupled not to eat, against his better knowledge, not deceived, but fondly overcome with female charm. Earth trembled from her entrails, as again in pangs, and nature gave a second groan. Sky lowered, and muttering thunder, some sad drops wept at completing of the mortal sin original. While Adam took no thought, eating his fill, nor Eve to iterate her former trespass feared, the more to soothe him with her loved society, that now, as with new wine intoxicated both, they swim in mirth and fancy that they feel divinity within them, breeding wings wherewith to scorn the earth. But that false fruit far other operation first displayed. Carnal desire inflaming, he on Eve began to cast lascivious eyes, she him as wantonly repaid. In lust they burn, till Adam thus 'gan Eve to dalliance move. Eve, now I see thou art exact of taste, and elegant, of sapience no small part, since to each meaning savour we apply, and palate call judicious. I the praise yield thee so well this day thou hast purveyed. Much pleasure we have lost, while we abstain from this delightful fruit, nor known till now true relish tasting. If such pleasure be in things to us forbidden, it might be wished for this one tree had been forbidden 10. But come, so well refreshed, now let us play, as meet is after such delicious fare. For never did thy beauty, since the day I saw thee first, and wedded thee adorned with all perfections, so inflame my sense with ardour to enjoy thee, fairer now than ever, bounty of this virtuous tree. So said he, and forbore not glance or toy of amorous intent, well understood of Eve, whose eye darted contagious fire. Her hand he seized, and to a shady bank, thick overhead with verdant roof embowered, he led her nothing loath. Flowers were the couch, pansies and violets and asphodel, and hyacinth, earth's freshest, softest lap. There they their fill of love and love's disport took largely, of their mutual guilt, the seal, the solace of their sin, till dewy sleep oppressed them, wearied with their amorous play. Soon as the force of that fallacious fruit, that with exhilarating vapour bland about their spirits had played, and inmost powers made was now exhaled, and grosser sleep, bred of unkindly fumes with conscious dreams encumbered, now had left them, up they rose, as from unrest, and each the other viewing soon found their eyes how opened, and their minds how darkened. Innocence, that as a veil had shadowed them from knowing ill, was gone. Just confidence and native righteousness and honour from about them, naked left to guilty shame. He covered, but his robe uncovered more. So rose the day-night strong Herculean Samson from the harlot lap of Philistean Delilah, and waked, shorn of his strength. They destitute and bare of all their virtue. Silent, and in face confounded, long they sate, as struck and mute, till Adam, though not less than Eve abashed, at length gave utterance to these words constrained.